We're going to be working on our story about Ruby Bridges, Child of Change. And before we read through this, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that we've been working on and give you a few reminders. So first of all, I'm going to tell you that this passage is a biography. And I wondered if you remembered what that word biography meant. So it is a non-fiction text, which tells me it is, hopefully you said true. Okay, it is the true story of a person's life. And so in this case, we're talking about Ruby Bridges. So it's the true story of her life, but because it's a biography, it is written by somebody else. If it was written by her, by Ruby Bridges, we would call that an autobiography if she wrote it about herself. She did not write this particular passage, so we're going to call this a biography, the true story of a person's life written by somebody else. Now, a lot of times when we have biographies, we see some text features in there. And so right now I see a timeline over here, which looks like it is the timeline of her life. So Ruby Bridges is born, you see the year there, 1954, when she's in kindergarten, elementary school, when she gets married, when she reunites with Mrs. Henry, we'll read about that, or that person, and then when she starts her foundation, which means like a group that helps people, okay, and then when she received a Presidential Citizens Medal, which is a really high honor to receive. So this timeline is a text feature that helps us understand some things about the text a little bit better. So when you see these extras when you're reading, it's really important not to skip over them and just read this bulk in the center and call it done, because these text features help us understand things a little bit better. Okay. If I look over here, I notice that this is a spiral review. We are in our review week right now, which is why we're doing these kinds of practice activities to review some things. So we've been talking about how good readers ask and answer questions as they go. We did that in our small groups as well right before we left school. And your last story, we talked about point of view. There's a video link for thinking about what somebody thinks or feels, what their opinion might be. And so we still see that in this text today. So you have the author's point of view, and then you have somebody else's point of view. So the author, somebody that's writing it, how they might feel about the topic, but you could also have the point of view of a character or someone else in the text as well. So we talked about timeline, root words. We've talked about a ton this year, where if you can pick out a piece of the word that you understand, it might help you find meaning. We also reviewed homophones, words that sound the same but have different meanings, like a baseball bat and a bat that flies in a cave. Summarizing is a skill that we've been practicing as we've been retelling and picking out what's most important about the story. And this last one, cause and effect, this is a pretty big one. So cause and effect, you had your video that you reviewed in your last lesson about a cause and an effect, and then you had some questions to answer where you're picking out the reasons why something happened. So this thing happened, the cause, and therefore the effect happened afterwards. So if you think about the word because, something happened because, that can help you find what your cause is. Okay? So when we're reading today, we're thinking about some of those skills, and then you are going to have some questions to answer when you're finished. So we will start reading this together today, and I have it posted on Seesaw for you to do the answers to. I've also assigned it in ConnectEd in case you need it read to you. You can look at it in there as well. Okay, so your goal is to read through this passage. Don't use this screen here because we've got a little bit of it cut off. It looks like the very, very, very bottom might be difficult for you to read. Okay, so that is your task. Make sure you go to Seesaw to read and answer the questions at the end, or use ConnectEd to be able to use these audio buttons to have it read to you. Good luck!